Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you're interested in today's video. While TSMC holds an absolute advantage in the global foundry industry, boasting not only leading chip manufacturing technology but also a 2/3 market share, mainland China's wafer manufacturing sector is also developing rapidly, with 3 companies now in the top 10 globally. These are SMIC, 3rd rank, Wong Group, 6th rank, and Hefei Jinghai, 9th ranked. Together, they account for nearly 10% of the global market share. SMIC and Wong have recently released their earnings, and the situation is improving. Now, the US is poised to intervene again. In recent years, the US has resorted to extreme measures to hinder the development of mainland China's chip industry, expanding export controls to restrict the export of or cooperation with China on advanced semiconductor equipment, materials, EDA, IP, and other technologies. It has also added hundreds of semiconductor-related companies, including Huawei, SMIC, Yangtze Memory Technologies, and Shanghai Microelectronics, to the entity list. However, these actions have not hindered China's chip development. Instead, they have fueled its resolve to break through. As a result, a massive influx of capital and talent has poured into the chip industry, accelerating its growth and development. Take, for example, SMIC, mainland China's most technologically advanced wafer foundry. In recent years, it has invested 170 billion yuan to build 4 mature process fabs in Beijing, Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Tianjin. With the gradual ramp-up of mass production and increased production capacity, revenue has surged. As a result, SMIC has surpassed both UMC and GlobalFoundries, vaulting from its long-standing 5th place ranking to a solid 3rd place globally. Recently, SMIC released its second quarter 2025 financial report, showing continued strong revenue growth, achieving sales of $2.209 billion, a year-on-year increase of 16.2%. Capacity utilization reached 92.5%, a 2.9% increase from the previous quarter. However, net profit was $132.5 million, a 19% year-on-year decrease. This is likely due to a significant increase in operating expenses, which increased by over 50% both year-on-year and quarter-on-quarter. A key factor is R&D spending, which reached $182 million, a 22.2% increase from the previous quarter. A significant increase in R&D spending is undoubtedly a positive development, as it prepares for future technology development and benefits the company's long-term development. Let's take another example, Wong. While not as strong as SMIC in reaching the global top 5, Wong is no exception, currently ranking 6th globally. It recently released its second quarter financial report, reporting revenue of $566.1 million, an 18.3% year-on-year increase. Shockingly, Wong's capacity utilization rate for the quarter was a staggering 108.3%. Consider that the overall wafer foundry industry's capacity utilization rate is around 80%, while SMIC's 92.5% is considered excellent, with 100% representing full capacity. A rate exceeding 100% indicates that production lines are operating at full capacity, with demand exceeding supply and requiring overtime to meet demand. Notably, Huawei's capacity utilization rate reached 102.7% in the first quarter of this year and even higher in the second. Just as the US took action, Trump announced a 100% tariff on imported semiconductors. However, Trump also stated that companies that have already established or pledged to establish factories in the US would be eligible for partial tariff exemptions. Trump also confirmed that Nvidia and Apple will be exempted because they have both made significant investments in the US. Recently, Apple officially announced plans to invest $600 billion in the US over the next 4 years, launching its Made in the US initiative. Furthermore, TSMC is also expected to receive a chip tariff exemption, having already invested $65 billion in the US and adding another $100 billion in March. South Korean companies Samsung and SK Hynix will also receive exemptions due to their investments in US factories. In response, some foreign media outlets have directly stated that the US is about to take action again, and this time is a major move, affecting virtually all semiconductor-related companies. So, will China's SMIC and Huawei be affected, and to what extent? According to Trump's requirements, companies that have not built or committed to building factories in the US will be subject to a 100% tariff. This would naturally affect SMIC and Huawei, as they will not build factories in the US and have no plans to do so. However, the impact will not be significant, as can be seen from their financial reports. Neither company derives a significant portion of its revenue from the US market. In SMIC's second quarter revenue, 84.1% came from the domestic market, while 12.9% came from the US. Huawei's second quarter revenue came from mainland China, accounting for 83%, while the US market accounted for 9.4%. This shows that both SMIC and Huawei rely primarily on the domestic market. Furthermore, even if the US imposes tariffs, it will be the US companies that will bear the brunt of the burden, not SMIC and Huawei, which would actually increase the burden on their own companies. Even if these two companies lose this share, the vast demand in mainland China can fully replace it.